All right, so today let's get into tools of the trade. We just wanted to kind of go over the tools that you got to have, some of the ones that you might want to have, and kind of some also to kind of help your business move forward. So Brad and I are going to share some of our tools. Of course, a lot of them are going to be kind of the same. We might have a different brand and so forth. And there are actually toolkits that you can buy that have the majority of what you need. Babolat and Yonex have two really great toolkits that I would advise you maybe checking out if you just are getting started, you don't have any tools, and you just want to get them all at one time. I think the Babolat toolkit is going to probably run you $300 to $400, and the Yonex is going to run you maybe between $200 and $300. I'll go ahead and put some links, links in the feed later on about where you might be able to get those. And I know it's sometimes a challenge picking those up. But yeah, those are great deals. So let's get right into it. There's some tools, of course, you got to have. You got to have your stringing machine. And with your stringing machine, you've got the tools to string a racket. And there's just some tools that you got to have. Number one is you need something to cut your string so that you can cut a sharp angle. And that's usually what you will cut when you first take the string out, and you're going to cut a nice sharp tip so that you can push that string through the machine. And anytime that you're cutting the string, whether it's for the knots or anything like that, you're going to be basically using a cutter. So you want to get something that that feels good for you, that's not too heavy, and that's sharp. And some people like to use actually razor blades. They'll have a razor blade at their machine, and they'll kind of use that to get the sharp tip. Because sometimes if you just use regular cutters, you're not going to get a very sharp tip. Or what it'll do is you'll kind of crush it a little bit and then cut it, and then it's not very it's not a sharp point. So something like this is a tool that you got to have. Brad, do you have something exactly like this, or do you have something a little bit different for your
very similar? And I tell you, they come in handy. And there's times where I'll start out and I'll cut an angle, but when I'm trying to tie that knot and it won't go through, I have to cut even sharper and make sure I get a little bit sharper angle in there. I had one of the guys that actually the tester for my MRT, he used a razor blade and a wood block to cut his string, like you said. That was his method and stuff. But yeah, definitely you must have one of those.
Yep. Also use bent nose pliers, right?
Sure.
And that's really the only time that I'm really using this is to push string through the grommets. Now I know that some kits come with the standard pliers like this.
I hardly ever use those.
Yeah, I don't use these at all. I have them here. I think I bought them with some other tools, and they usually will come with one of these, because it's really hard to get the string in here to be able to hold it straight in order to push it in. So really you need bent nose. And I like these little ones. They're lighter, because I know some of the tools are kind of a little bit more heavy, the stringing, the ones that you get with some of the toolkits. And so these are actually ones I got at the hardware store, I believe. And you definitely want ones that either have a spring or have something in it so that it'll keep going back open, not that it stays shut. I don't know. Are yours like that too?
Yeah, mine are the same way. Yeah.
Yeah. And they'll this kind of like, yeah, perfect. All right. Starting clamp. Got to have the starting clamp. I know you actually don't have to have a starting clamp in order to string a tennis racket, but this has got about 4 to 5 different purposes. So a starting clamp is your go-to for many things, whether it's bridging a gap between the string and your machine when it's too short. I use it also to tie off knots. I will use it at the beginning of a string job, just as extra security behind the clamp on the machine. I will use it on the frame in order, sometimes when I'm doing a 2-piece, it's just a lifesaver. And even 2 of them. You can have one that's just set up for the bridge, and then leave the extra string on that, and then use the other one for everything else.
Yeah, that's what I do. I also use it for to tie the knots, because it's I used to use pliers when I first started, and those are sharp, so if you turn it too much, you could actually cut the string with pliers. These are rounded, they're soft, so these are great for tightening knots.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that. Also, I know with the starting clamps, you can get narrower ones or you can get
A little bit.
wider ones. I
Yeah.
know the real narrow ones you're going to use for badminton, but I know for tennis there's a couple different widths as well. And as far as brands, you know, they come. You can buy from a variety of manufacturers, and then also some really cheap ones that you can find on Amazon. I wouldn't recommend that because you're going to ultimately use this to hold tension at possibly 50, 60 pounds, because when you're using it to secure the string. So you really want to go with something good. I've had good success with Gamma clamps, with Babolat, of course, and Alpha clamps. This one right here that I have is an Alpha clamp.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, they're going to run you between $20 and $40, even more if you buy a Babolat.
Yeah.
What brand do you have? I mean, I used to have Wilson too. They weren't bad.
I'm not even sure what brand this is, to be honest with you.
Oh no, you have one from a cheap one from China? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I have a probably cheap one. If you look
But
at
it works.
my grip is coming off. You know, the grip is all over.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
I have
That's a
another one
sign of a good.
downstairs that's dedicated for the bridge, like you said, because I have, you know, the piece of tubing through there. I have the Kevlar string through
Yep.
there.
Yep. And we would recommend Kevlar string when you're using it on the bridge, because Kevlar string is not going to, there's no elasticity really in Kevlar, so it's not going to,
Right.
you know, it's not going to pull, because you really don't want it to do that. So, and you're also going to use a starting clamp if you check your machine, check the tension on your machine. You're going to be using the starting clamp because you need that in order to gauge to make sure your machines are. That's for another video. All right, what other tools do we have, Brad?
Well, we have the awl, of course. You know,
Yes.
if you need to open up the grommet a little bit, or clean it out, or see if there's a piece of debris or whatever.
Right, and that's a sharp awl, and they come in a couple different sizes.
Yeah, I have another couple
different ones.
well.
Yeah, like sometimes they come a little bit in shorter ones as well. And the whole purpose there is so that you can, you know, sometimes you might have to make the hole a little bit bigger, or if you have another string in there, you can gently possibly stick that in as well to kind of
push it down,
you know, maneuver it. But you got to be careful if there's another string in there. But a lot of times, if you have to enlarge a grommet for the purpose of a tie off, you know, creating a new tie off or other reasons, those are going to be a lifesaver. A straightening awl, right?
Yeah.
And this is going to be a blunt tip instrument, because you don't want to have something sharp that you're jabbing into the machine, into the racket. And these come, you can buy these, you know, generic ones online, on Amazon, I think, or you can buy it. They come with the stringing kits if you buy that completely. I have a Babolat one, and then I have I don't know brand one, but work. It doesn't really matter per se what brand. I mean, they all do the same thing. And really, this is going to be used. You're going to use this every time you string your racket, because you're going to use it to straighten the cross strings as you're stringing the racket. Because you really don't want to wait until you're done stringing the racket to start straightening. You want to be straightening as you go along. So as you start, you know, going down the frame, you know, you're going to be using a little bit to kind of keep it straight. And then at the end, then you can do the finishing touches and get it all straightened up.
Yeah. Get that string as straight as you can before you tension it.
Yep, exactly. And it's a little easier when you have an electronic machine, because as it's pulling, you can be straightening that string, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
All right. So those are, I guess, the essential tools for your machine to be able to string a racket, right? So you've got your oh wait, there's one more tool that we didn't talk about. Cutters. You need something to cut your string.
Yeah.
I know that you can use cutters like this to do it. You know, if you're doing one at a time and you're going around the frame, you can use this, or shears actually work the best, and you have a good example there.
Yeah.
Yeah, those cutters are really good because you know, they don't hurt your hand. Because scissors, sometimes if you use a regular set of scissors, they kind of will hurt your hand a little bit, you know, right there when you're cutting them. I don't know, or just because it's, I don't know. Shears are a lot better.
And I will say, you know, if you're in the market for a machine, I would not buy the tools until you see what comes with the machine you're buying, because some machines will come with a good set of tools, so you may not need to buy certain tools.
That's a good point right there. Yep, exactly.